Let's go back and deny that tower. That wasn't deny range, of course. So right now, in terms of tower kills, that actually happens to be the first tower kill of the game, so it goes in favor of VG, but at least it was denied, at the 15-minute mark. But again, going up against a Defala, you honestly would expect perhaps a little bit faster of a push, so that's very good news for Ice. Losing a tower isn't a big deal against a Defala push-style hero, 15 minutes into the game. Definitely very solid play on their part. And honestly, this is what I was saying from the very beginning. A lot of people may be coming into this, they expect EG, into the tournament as a whole, just stop it, frankly, being the #1 team. But it's not. Ice is not going to let that happen whatsoever, and in fact, they arguably have the momentum right now. But you do have to always be worried about Gladiator and keep in mind about his farm.
Yeah, he is just one of those people who can get so farmed up, and if he does get any sort of farm, he is so hard to bring down. Well, what I really want to talk about is the fact that Defila, you're talking about her ultimate, I think the big reason why they're not using it to actually push is because they watched that semi-final.
Yes.
They saw what happens when you actually push. With a Defila ultimate, it goes down, and then big opportunity arises, because, as you said before, without a Defila ulti, you will not win a team battle.
Yeah.
You need that ulti to be going off. They need to fight inside that one, especially with this big ganking lineup. I think it's just being saved by that, and they're trying to push the old-fashioned way at the moment. That's the big thing they're trying to go for, and, it's hard to get your timing right. It's hard to know when to push. It's hard to know when you're going to get ganked, and that's just basically the nerds as well. There's a big grand final coming up here in Singapore, and there's a lot on the line. $10,000 for the winner, $4,000 for the rest, but the pride as well of actually being classed as the best player, the best team in DYA. It's big.
And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, to be fair, EG, the pressure is on them at the same time because they are, the expected team to win this event, whereas Ice came into this, they weren't even sure if they're going to have 5 players.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're just having a good time. I'm sure that their attitude is a lot more laid back. They're like, we're the underdogs, we're coming to this, we're just going to have fun with it, and whatever happens, happens. So, they kind of got that advantage going for them as well, but Ice, by all means, very competitive here, showing that right here. The Pestilence Portal Key, no doubt, been playing a big factor. Now picking up a Mighty Blade as well. So, of course, you got to figure he's going for a Shrunken Head. As always, a very useful combination for someone like a Pestilence that allows him to initiate very powerfully, then run around with the sprint ability at maximum speed pretty much and just chase people down and not get CC'd. So, very powerful, of course. And, that's the other thing about this Hellboy team we really haven't touched on a whole lot yet, but they have a lot of minus armor between the ultimate from Pestilence and the Aurora from Andromeda. You're looking at 10, 15 minus armor just right there, up to 20 even with a level 3 Swarm ability. So, good amount of minus armor. We've already seen it, in fact, only level 1 Swarm and the Aurora go for an easy early Conquer kill. Expect a lot of Conquer kills throughout this game for the Hellborn team. And, with that said, EG definitely needs to keep in mind about that.
Yeah, it is actually a big thing because you've got all the auras stacking up here. If they start getting to late game items as well, you get Forsaken Archer stacked up. They might even see Slither stacked up. But if they get any sort of aura items coming off, it's really going to stack. It's really going to be hard to try and stop them. And if anything like a Dominic Breastplate comes up at one point, that is just so much negativity. I'm not quite sure if they actually stack. I'm pretty sure they do.
What, Demonic? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if that stacks up, EG are going to be squishy. It doesn't matter how freaking tank they are, they're going to be squishy. Now I see a bit of a push coming out here from the middle from Gladiator, just using that pitfall. Likes to actually use it. It's a good way of actually farming up as well, especially if you're considering yourself a little bit under, or you want to get the farm and then move yourself off to another lane. It's a good way of actually doing that one. Very cheap, very slow cooldown that one, low cooldown that one as well. So big thing. Looks like Wishblade just getting caught out here by a couple of Toxic Wars, just showing himself up there inside the Hellborn neutrals. And you got to be careful. Like obviously, you can try and push that top lane. You might want to move yourselves around. Bottom lane is being pressured right now. The Glymph is being forced to fire off with Pestilence as well as Andromeda going down there. The Tormented Soul actually being fired down to try and slow them down at the moment. But that tower, there's no one stopping it. We're going to see another Tier 1 tower actually take a fall. Now the TP comes in again. Is that actually a good idea? Who's on the back of it? The TP actually gets cancelled in the end. And, here's the pressure on the top. Tormented Soul goes off here. We do actually have to file a ready to push this top lane. Will the ulti go off, though? That's a big question.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about that earlier, though, and you did have a very good point. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you can use the ultimate to push a tower, but at the same time, then you won't have it for a team fight that could be coming up, and the team fight may very likely be coming up, so we did see him fall back and choose not to use the ultimate at least yet. So the Legion team, 4 players here, kind of just grouping up, doing their thing. Of course, Gladiator and Pharaoh up in front, being the melee heroes. Speaking of Pharaoh, he's, at least he's got a steam boot, so definitely a hero that wants to try to get tanky. And on top of that, Gladiator as well. You also see him picking up a steam staff now, so as expected, of course, going for the Assassin Shroud next. Defada, on the other hand, again, we talked about this the last time we talked to Defada. She actually went for an early Sheep Stick. Defada this game, going for something a little bit different too, actually starting off with a Neophytes build because they do push the tower in, by the way. Little to no resistance from the Hellborn team, so a little interesting choice right there, choosing that they didn't want to have a team fight, knowing that they would have possibly to go up against the Defiler ultimate.
Yeah.
But curious to see how Chu decides to build this Defiler.
Oh, man, Gauntlet right on top of Wishslayer as he TP'd himself in there, holding on top of it. Big triple stun comes off. Andromeda Slither as well as Gauntlet all caught up here. Great swap from Andromeda, tries to pull in the Voodoo Jester again, but into the mix. Pharaoh thought he could take it. He does actually take it. Defiler ulti. Now the group fight does come out there. Gladiator's caught in the back of the stun with Pestilence wanting to jump in towards the mix. One down from either side. They managed to bait the Defiler ulti. They're also trying to bring down Andromeda. She's moving herself around, bringing it back to the one spot. That's all over. She's not going to escape from that one. And Andromeda bursts into a puff of logic, and 2 down. They lose 2 on that bit of a push, but they did bait the Defiler ulti. That's going to open up a window for Pestilence.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the worst thing that happened. They did lose 2 players in Gauntlet and Andromeda. They got one themselves, but like you said, they got the ultimate down. It is a fairly short cooldown, but at the same time, it's 100 seconds. So, it takes a little bit less because I believe it goes back into 80 or 70 seconds. So, but anyways, so maybe they'll take advantage if they can, but it is difficult because at the same time they have to fall back and regen, and by the time they get all regen, they're gonna have to deal with that. So, by the way, Defiler did choose to go Storm Spirit, so going that route. But at the same time, it is a very powerful item because she can actually Storm Spirit herself with the ultimate activated, so she's immune to damage, kind of like we saw earlier with the Invis rune, immune to damage, but at the same time, she's still doing all the damage with her ultimate, so very effective there. And to keep in mind as well, these shrunken heads on Pestilence, and it looks like even Forsaken Archer going for one, very good obviously, but they do not stop the ultimate damage from Defiler. Defiler ultimate is of course physical damage, so you always have to keep that in mind as well. And but farming once again going on. We're now 22 minutes in the game.
Look at this. They've already gone for a water revelation. They saw the ward inside the Kongor pit. They know they're going for the Kongor. What can EG do? She do to stop it? They don't. The bananas are out as well as a token of life, pushing the Pharaoh back and puts the wall of mummies up there, so no one else is going to chase it back up there. They do disappear very, very fast, but so fast to bring down Kongor. Even though EG could see what was happening, they couldn't stop it. Yeah. And of course, the second they saw the ward actually there, when the water revelation came down, and you saw Ice going, they know what we're doing. They didn't stop. That's the confidence. That's the confidence to bring Kongor down so fast. It's
amazing. I mean, again, we talk about that so many times. Pestilence and Andromeda, that minus armor on a Kongor is just so ridiculously powerful. And the fact that we have 3 Kongor kills in 22 minutes is just absurd. As you mentioned, though, Bananas picked up on Pestilence. Token of Life went to Gauntlet? Yeah, it did go to Gauntlet. So Gauntlet, by the way, picking up an Iron Shield. Very interesting there. I really think, though, they... Possibly it's just to protect against Gladiator, just protect as much damage as possible. But it's not too often you see an Iron Shield on a strength hero. But they're going to go right here, port onto Voodoo Jester. There's so much burst damage. Voodoo Jester going down. A lot of ports coming in there. Gauntlet pulling the grapple out on Gladiator, pulling out. But now Pestilence in a lot of trouble. He gets caught up there. Where are we going to? Can he use the bananas? No, he cannot. Silence going out now. On to Gauntlet right there. Pharaoh chasing with the ultimate. Defiler ultimate, of course, up. Swap from Andromeda. Gets caught in the Gladiator ultimate. However, there's that Storm Spirit used on Gauntlet. He's not going to get away. And he's going to be dropping fast right here. There we go. Token of Life used, and it's going to be a wasted Token of Life, it looks like, because he's going to die immediately after as well. And there you go. So great fight once again from EG right there. Forsaken Archer was not there for the whole duration of the fight. So, at what cost situation. They dove on Voodoo Jester on the tower. Definitely was not worth it in the end. A 4-for-1 exchange in favor of EG, and they are now within a kill of tying this game up, and Hero Kills now at the 24-minute mark.
Well, I think at this point, Gauntlet's going to be sitting there going, I lost my Token of Life. On the bright side, you've actually still got Pestilence. He's still got those bananas, so at least got bananas. That's one perk, and the only perk you can see from that one. Even the survival of the substitute for Purify Fire, he was just one of those guys. It's like he came in, it's just like, I had a TP, but I couldn't get there in time. There would have been no point for him to go in there as well. They would have just dived him down and tried to kill him. So it was wise for him to actually stick out of it in the end. But what a play from EG. They were getting a little bit behind in the balance of this match. 17-18, 24 minutes into it with 3 Kongors down. They've all been behind. They've been behind that 600 gold for every single player. But with that one fight, you can make it all back.
Oh, yeah. And no doubt, though, again, that shrunken head on Pestilence will make a big deal. Definitely would have perhaps even allowed Pestilence to survive that last team fight. And we do see him working on it. He has that Warhammer picked up it now as well, so very likely we'll have that soon finished. Forsaken Archer already finishing her shrunken head, so very good tools to use there. As we did mention, it doesn't stop a lot of the damage necessarily because Gladiator and Defiler both rely a lot on physical damage, especially with the Defiler's ultimate, of course, but it does stop a lot of CC, which is ultimately, of course, what they're going for there. They want to be able to deal damage themselves. Now, going back to Gauntlet, by the way, picking up a token of life on Gauntlet, it is a little bit interesting. Choice right there to send it on him, and by the way, he's farming this bottom lane right here. We do see a Tormented Soul and a Wave of Death coming out, so obviously he knows someone is nearby, and we might have a little bit of a skirmish going on here at the bottom lane. But you could argue that perhaps it might have been more effective to go on someone like a Pestilence, because he's the initiator. He jumps into the midst of those fights and makes himself very vulnerable. But at the same time, I can understand Gauntlet as well, because he provides a lot of burst damage. They want him to be able to focus fire, defile it, and then maybe resurrect and then burst him down again in those team fights. But you know, it was wasted, unfortunately, and they don't have it anymore, so pretty much not worth talking about it. But yeah,
they do. Oh, great initiate already. Defile. It's a lot of trouble. Gauntlet trying to do it. Chariots of Fire coming right over the top with a wall of mummies. Massive AoE just flooding across the field. Still only one down from either side. Trying to push the back. Peasants is trying to gank wherever he can. He does get one. They've still got two caught. Massive stun. 1, 2, 3. Hat trick. Pulls it right out, including the rabbit. 4 down. Only person to survive is Wishslayer, making himself a double stun there. They're on the chase. Pestilence has the speed, and he's trying to get
that sucks. He was going to try to eat his way through the trees and juke them, but what can you do when you run into perch creep? So genocide for the Hellborn team, minus armor for the win, but that is what they need to do every time. Initiate on Defiler.
Yes.
Get her killed as soon as possible.
No ulti.
She has a Storm Spirit. It proves to be a very effective pickup, as we saw right there. She used it as she got initiated on with their ultimate out, but as soon as she came down, Gauntlet and Pestilence were right on top of her, bursting it down. And you saw the Aurora came in later on in that fight. The minus armor is just ridiculous for Pestilence especially. He was just tearing through these Legion players left and right, and even Gladiator, you know, with the life he has at home with the Black Legion Assassin Shroud, he got torn through despite having 1900 lives. So this is really scary here for EG. You know, again, Gladiator, he is getting the farm as you would expect on a hero like Gladiator. He has an Assassin Shroud. He has the helm of the Black Legion. He's picked up the broadsword, so going for the Rift Shards next. But this is, I feel, a little bit different than I normally would about a Gauntlet game. Obviously, we're not seeing MSI play it, so in that sense as well. But Ice is looking very, very, very good, and they are in a very confident spot. Forsaken Archer lacking a little bit on the damage because she did go the Shrunken Head first, but, you know, with that team fight right there, and she's now just continuing to farm, of course, that's going to be really scary for the Legion team, because when she starts to pick up physical damage DPS items like a Savage Mace, Frostburn, Geometer Spin, that's where the Legion team really needs to be worried, worried.
Yeah, we do. We've seen it so many times during this match. Forsaken Archer just able to solo push towers. We actually saw it in the semi-final match with the Malaysians up against Ice themselves, where we actually saw just the illusions of Forsaken Archer were killing the tier 3 tower all by themselves. They didn't need anything else, and it was a great play to actually see come out from that one. But of course, you watch Ice and you watch EG play.